Ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1. Welcome to Middles Open. I'm Michael Morris. With me, my buddy Doug Risher. Doug, how are you?
I am back, ready to go.
I can tell by your
I got
notes.
some notes.
Yeah, you got more notes than we have show.
I spent a week collecting all these.
It's amazing that you got these notes this morning, and yet it looks like the preamble to the Constitution.
Yes.
Lou, you do not have as many notes, but I feel like you're going to be able to pull through on this one.
I'm hoping so. I was thinking I was at the wrong show for a minute.
I was too. There are not that many notes in La La Land, and he has this all done. So I hope this.
I studied.
Well, let's talk about NFL news and notes right now. So we're in the boring part where the games don't matter, but there are some things out there that I just have to question as to what in the hell is going on. I want to start with Lou's good buddy, Antonio Brown, is the first player ever to get frostbite, so he can't be on the field. Is this guy going to be a problem every day of his life?
Absolutely. I've told him when he left, I said good riddance. They said whatever. I said I'm telling you, because I got a lot of friends as Raider fans, if you can believe that. And they said, oh, we'll take that problem. Well, let's see how long they want to put up with that problem, because he's already a problem.
Is this literally the first time someone's ever suffered?
No one has ever gone to a
cryogenic
cryotherapy session and been out. I think he's going to miss the whole preseason because he's got blisters on his foot.
Did you see that picture that he posted on Instagram?
Oh, his feet are trashed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't believe he actually had the guts to put him up there.
Oh, I
on
can't
Instagram.
because that gives him clicks and.
There you
True,
go.
that's
Yeah.
true. People do. I mean, I clicked on it. I wanted to see.
Antonio Brown views himself as like the LeBron James of the NFL, and he is far from that.
And now he can't even play.
But think about the Raiders. They're investing their whole offensive future in this one guy. And if he's not out there, Derek Carr is throwing to guys that look like us. They're not
Tyrell
good.
Williams. That will be their number one receiver if he can't get his feet fixed and get out there.
So, I mean, when do you think he's going to be better? Is it just going to be preseason, or is he going to be even longer than that?
I don't think this is like a Bosa thing where I twisted my ankle, and we'll get to that later, and I just don't want to play in the preseason. I want to get hurt. This looks to be a very severe problem. If you're a guy who makes your money running routes and you can't even suit up, like he's not even practicing.
Right.
I mean, he's wearing his gear, so he's on that Hard Knock show, but that's not it.
Well, let me ask you, what kind of footwear is required for a cryogenic therapy session? Is it just
I don't
sneakers?
think you-
I
I
mean,
think you wear
it's
socks.
like I think it's like just getting in an ice bath.
right. Well, I know what it is, but I mean, you have to. No, it's you stand in this tank.
No, I mean as far as the clothes wear, you wear what you want to wear, because it's
Clearly, I mean, why wouldn't he get frostbite on anything else?
I don't. Well, we don't know. He only put a
Why not
picture
your
of one
hands?
thing out
Yeah.
there.
Maybe his feet were just in there.
Let's stop there. Anything below the knees on this show we'll discuss. I just find it odd that like the guy, he throws a fit everywhere he's at. He wants to wear that mink coat. He wants to have the blue and pink in his baby dreadlock hair. Wants to go on the barbershop thing with LeBron James. And he can't understand where the vitriol is towards this guy who quits on his team at
Right.
the end of the season. Last game, we need you. Nah, I don't feel like it, and I'm going to go home early.
Not gonna
Lose
show
like
up.
good riddance.
But that's what I'm saying is there are people that the NFL is supposed to be a team first thing, right? You're watching that game because you love that team in that city. The reason NFL in the 90s started doing that thing where you can't take your helmet off and all that is because when you show yourself to be an idiot, it's you're identifying yourself. It wasn't the marketing of like an Emmitt Smith or something. It's the off the field stuff. They don't want you to know these guys' faces. This guy's causing problems everywhere he goes. You know?
And he's going to continue to cause problems because he's a self-centered individual. And don't get me wrong, to play sports at a high level, they all have egos.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think you kind of have.
You
to.
have to, or you're never going to get out of. You're never even going to be a decent high school player if you don't have some type of ego.
Right.
Because it's a crazy sport to play. I mean, any of these sports.
Well, this is true because
But he's over the top.
that's
Oh.
how Lou is so successful now.
Listen, Lou's one of those guys who found God. You know what I mean? Like in high school, everyone's like looking at him like, "Oh my God, there's the legend." And now he's like, "Oh, I'm just one of the guys." He's not one of the guys. He's one of the few. He's in the top 1%.
Top tier. So, do you think he'll make it back? Do you think he'll do anything with the Steelers, or not the Steelers, the Raiders?
Yeah.
Well, here's my bigger question. Let's say he plays all 16 games and he's all pro and all that. The Raiders are still at best a 4-12 or 5-11 team.
At most 5 games.
I feel like it's like when Randy Moss went to Tennessee. You can have as good a season as you want. No one's paying attention.
Right.
Yeah.
As long as your team's not doing it. So it'll be like the Steelers.
And he's going to be.
Oh!
Yeah.
That was a
I
cheap,
get
cheap
it. I
shot.
get
Hey, I had a week off.
Yeah.
I've been saving these up.
Yeah, you were. That's what the notes are all about,
Yeah, I
right?
bet half the notes are just bashing
It's
you.
all about Brady and Kraft. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Well, I just thought that's the only injury that I think it's kind of like when Tony Gwynn got hurt, missed the rest of the season when he slammed his thumb in his Porsche, trying to take his check to the bank. Like that's the only time you hear that story. That's this story right here.
Self-inflicted wound.
Yeah, you did this to yourself.
Injury, not wound, but especially like you said, when he makes all his money from running. So it's like you protect those things.
Yeah. Well, I want to move on to the next thing that I actually cannot believe. This was the headline. Colt McCoy is being held out of the first preseason game, meaning that's your starter, Colt McCoy, because they don't want to see him get hurt, and then the backups with Haskins and whoever.
Keenum.
Yeah. Those guys are going to get reps. If I'm Colt McCoy, I'm not coming out of any game. I need the reps, number one. But number two, I need to show that these guys... I'm not letting Wally Pipp take my job because you don't want me to get hurt.
Colt McCoy is the third best quarterback that was mentioned in that.
Right.
And they have him listed as the starter.
But he's been there for 10 years, so he's got seniority in a sense, right? So
Yeah, but it's not-
he's coming off that broken leg. They gotta nurse it a
This
little
isn't
bit.
high school. Like, well,
Preseason.
it's his turn and his dad's a booster. I mean, like,
I get
this
it,
is
I
a
get it.
professional organization.
I mean, Dwayne Haskins was first round pick, right? So
15th overall.
who do you think, Keenum or Haskins?
What's
would be?
going to happen? We talked about this yesterday. What's going to happen is the Redskins are going to start. You pick them, McCoy or Keenum. I said it would be Keenum. They're going to play the first 9 games because then they have a bye. Because the coach Jay Gruden is coaching for his job, so he can't start Haskins at the beginning because the first 5 games were brutal. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know they involved Philadelphia, Chicago, Minnesota, Dallas, and somewhere, and then one more team in there. I mean, it's a brutal first 5. You don't want to stick a rookie out there for that. Not if you plan on him being there for the next 15 years, as these quarterbacks are now. But I see one of them 2 other guys. I would do Keenum over McCoy, playing the first 9. Then buys week 10. Then you have 7 games left. And out of that bye, they start out at home against the Jets and home against the Lions. That's when Haskins will be quarterbacking that team. If they do it so they don't get him killed in the first. Because remember, Trent Williams won't be there, the all-pro left tackle, which protects his blind side, won't be there.
You know what I always wondered is how does it feel when they're debating, like, we got to save this guy. That's the future of the franchise. And you're the sack of potatoes they throw out there and they go, the tackle's not here. The backup guard is going to start. You have no protection and no wide receivers. Go get him, kid. Like, how's that feel?
Well,
To be the Matt Schaub of the world.
when you think about it, Matt Schaub, that's what I was going to say. Like, I know for me it would feel great because my wife would go, that's okay, babe. They still, you're the direct deposit, right? Direct deposit on Fridays, right? Like,
Right.
you can be in the hospital and we still get paid, right?
It's still gonna happen.
It
no matter
works. Yeah, so they getting the check. They'll take the check.
what. So neither one of you think McCoy is gonna play?
Listen, I think if it's me, I think Keenum starting. Keenum did.
Is a better quarterback.
He's a
than
better quarterback,
McCoy.
but he's got a playoff
But
game.
McCoy's been
under-
there 10 years. He's got
Listen,
seniority.
I didn't. When I read it, it took me a minute because I was like, Colt McCoy, who is that? Like I forgot he was even around. So,
Well, that guy that broke his leg.
well, I think of him with the Browns, or I think of him with the Texas Longhorns. I don't think of him as an NFL caliber player, but like when Lou
Definitely
said,
not a starter.
when
Right.
Lou said the best the other 2 guys are better than him, you're going to sit him and save him. I just thought that was a mess to even look at. But the Redskins are a mess anyway. I just found that to be a funny headline. That was actually a headline.
It was a headline on CBS Sports.
I didn't dig for it. It was right there.
And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, what McCoy are they talking about? Because they didn't list his first name.
Oh, really?
I'm thinking, what, McCoy? What
I was thinking
quarterback's
Shady McCoy, and I'm like, am I not looking at the waiver wire? Do I not know where he's
Yeah.
playing?
But, oh, well.
So we're going to skip over that trash can fire, the Redskins. This is what I want someone to defend. Once again, one of the Bosas has hurt their little toes, and they can't play in preseason. They can't show up when the contracts are ready to go. What's going on? Why even put Bosa through the paces? Wait until the season starts. Any of them, Nick, Joey, their dad, I don't care. Wait until the season starts. Roll them out then, because they don't seem to get hurt during the season.
Oh, no. So that's when they want to be out there. If I'm every NFL team, the Rams showed the way last year. Not one starter played 1 snap in the preseason. If you don't like it, take away the preseason games. Because I'm not rolling my starters out there. I just wouldn't do it. It's not worth it.
I guess I don't get the point. I understand that it's
That's
about
it.
revenue and parking revenue, beer, sodas, all that stuff, ticket revenue. Nobody cares about these games. We're waiting to see if a Haskins will get in maybe in the 3rd or 4th quarter. We don't care about the rest of these guys.
Yeah.
These are guys that won't make it in the
and they're still
XFL.
making their money because the tickets and the sponsorships have already been sold.
Right.
So the only people that's getting hosed is like if I had season tickets to the Steelers, I'm not showing up to one preseason game. Are you going to a Pats game? Preseason.
Not from here, no, that's for sure.
You-
But no, I mean,
down the street.
if I had a bunch of buddies that wanted to go for giggles and beer or whatever, maybe. But I'm not gonna really plan a big trip and go for it. But I don't really care about
It
preseason.
still costs the same as a regular season
Yeah.
game. That's the part that drives
Yeah.
me nuts.
It
It's
should
not
be
cheaper.
It should be cheaper. And but with his history of injuries, it makes sense to not have him play preseason. I get what they're doing this now.
I agree with you.
because no one cares.
But just you don't even need to make the announcement.
Right.
He's just not active.
He's not active.
He'll
right.
practice.
Yeah.
Like J.J. Watt. That guy wants to play every snap of every game. He already hurt his groin the other day just in practice.
And that'll linger all year long.
Right.
And that was in the cryogenic therapy.
Right.
Right.
He was wearing different socks though.
Yeah.
But when I look at this and I say, like, if the Bears played Trubisky, they played him more than a quarter this entire preseason. He doesn't need it.
You ask them what they're doing because that's the only hope the Bears have. If you any NFL
What-
team
what?
take the starting
What?
quarterback.
No,
Well, that's
what?
first off, he's the
No,
only
but
decent
I don't
player
even
they
know
have.
The Bears. Who are they?
What is he talking about?
Are they still in Chicago?
I don't even know. They
You're
moved
gonna
him to
feel
the
real bad
suburbs.
when they go undefeated.
And the preseason doesn't count.
Lou, what show do you
Cleveland's
think
done.
that you're on? The preseason again. The highlight is, I want you both to try to think about this. Who's the only guy of the preseason that became a star that you didn't know about? Here's the only name I know: Terrell Davis.
Yeah, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I
Well,
didn't know.
the only reason I know that it was they were playing a preseason game in Tokyo, and he was on special teams and he made some big hit. And it was like, remember when the NFL, ESPN would actually show hits in football and like how
When
rough
you were
it
allowed
was?
to hit, yeah.
That's how he made the team. Is he had that one big explosive hit, so they didn't forget that he was a 4-string running back at Georgia. Now he's a Hall of Famer and harassing people, but he really liked
Harassing.
Campbell's soup. But that's the only guy that I can think of that has really become a big star.
Well, his
and
mom
played-
liked Campbell's soup.
Well, so did Donovan McNabb's mom.
Well, that's right. I
But
forgot
then he
about
blew it and choked in the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
probably because of Campbell's chunky soup. No offense to
That's
it.
soup.
Weighed him down, huh?
That's what made him throw up in the huddle.
Can't eat that before a game.
I also want to know, so we're going to move on from the soup conversation. So we're all good with the Bosa's don't ever have to play until week 1. They don't even need to practice. J.J. Watt, how big a deal is that?
Oh,
To tweak your growth. He's not missing time, but he's going to miss practice.
yeah, it's just going to linger. It's going to linger
Yeah.
all year long because he's such an explosive player. And at that position, there's always force against him by 320-pound guys.
And that's a painful area to be.
Oh, it's not going to go. I mean, that's
it's gonna-
every
it's gonna
single
be
time you
probably
engage with it.
increasing more and more.
You know, the worst
I've been
part
living
of
with
it.
a groin pull for 20 years.
I know. You've been showing me every week when I come in
It's
here.
always awkward, but I just want to make sure it still looks okay.
When I think of Lou, get back on the mic for that. Wasn't that funny? When I think about, you've got that groin pull, but you're going against that tackle or that guard. That's not the part I would have a problem with. It's that back who's trying to chip you, and you're trying to jump over him. That's where I think on week 3 you're sitting on a bag of ice every single day.
Or if he goes to take off and slips.
Right.
I mean, it's going to linger. But that team is just snake bitten with injuries every single year.
Don't you think that's got to be part of the medical staff? Why do we have they're not breaking legs. They're not tearing up their shoulder.
Yeah.
It's muscle tweaks and they're out for games. That there has to be some reason. That's the unhealthiest team in the history of football.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be something with the trainer. It has to be. I mean, unless everybody just hired terrible personal trainers.
I feel like it's probably a sponsorship deal. Like we'll use the University of Houston. They'll give us a bunch of money for sponsorship, and we'll let you treat the team. I'd be trying to
It's like
find
when
another
you-
hospital.
It's like when you get a discount when you go to the hair school. And
Right.
You get a discount haircut because obviously I would
It
know
looks
that.
terrible, but it was
But
$6.
it was it's $11 with tip, and it's a free one next time because it looks terrible.
Is that in your
No,
notes?
no offense.
I see you looking at your notes about that. Listen,
I did prepare for that.
So let's go to a player that's not on a team technically yet. I want to get your feedback on the Gordon situation. Goodell by himself is going to decide if he can come back, and it's a Patriots question.
Yeah.
Do you want him back as a Patriots fan? Not just do you want him to be on the team.
He's super talented.
Right.
Obviously, I'm a Pats fan, so yes. But I think Goodell hates the Pats. He's gonna suspend Brady for 4 games, and then take some draft picks away from Kraft. So that's what will happen.
Well, Kraft needs to stop going to the Wild Orchid, and he wouldn't have any of these problems.
He's there right now.
I would be too if I had that kind of money.
No, I'm just joking with that. But I mean, I think he's kind of screwed because Goodell has it out for him. So for the Patriots at least. So
Yeah,
That's the part that if he lets him back in, I believe it'll be people think I have this bias against him, so I'm going to let Gordon play.
See, and
So that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, and that's a two-way street. Like, as far as having him back, why wouldn't you want him back? He wasn't disruptive to the team.
Right.
Like, he didn't cause them any problems. He just got himself in trouble, and had to leave.
But that's the problem I have with it is if you
You
can't,
can't count
him.
on him.
Do you remember a guy named Brian Cox that was a big-time linebacker?
Talking about the line, yeah.
Yeah. Now he's on the Patriots staff, or was on the Patriots staff as a linebacker coach. Like was one of their more important defensive coaches. When the Bears traded for him and got him, that guy was causing problems on the field, hitting guys late, punching them, flipping off the other team on national TV.
Montez Burfict.
Right. Guys like that are disruptive on the field, if they have production, which is what Gordon is, you look at it and you overlook it. It's when you're doing things and I can't count on you. If I can't count on you to be clean and on this team after week 4, 5, and 6, what am I doing? Because I'm taking reps away from a guy that I could use. Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing with this whole Goodell was going to decide himself, well, that's the players' union's fault. They voted and allowed that to happen. And then that's his fault for actually accepting it.
Well, that's pretty unique, right?
It's very unique.
That's what I thought was odd. That's why I thought it was
gives
because
the punishment.
Of the Patriots.
He hears the appeal, and then he gives the response to the appeal.
Yeah, there's no check and balance.
None at all. And guess who let that go? The players did. So they can't complain about that.
But what I want to know is what did they get back? They didn't give that power and just say, "Oh, we trust them."
Well, they had to give something back. I mean, had to be a higher salary cap. Had to be. We'll give you more guaranteed money. We'll give you one less. You have to be in a league one less year to get vested, so you get lifelong insurance. It was something. I don't know what it was, but they just signed it over to him, and he is judge, jury, and execution.
Yeah, when I read that, I thought that was pretty odd.
It is very odd.
So he turned in a diluted sample.
Yeah.
And then he went to a facility in Florida, and it just matters if he's followed his treatment program.
Yeah, but again, that's subjective. I mean, if he let's say he misses a meeting because he has the flu. Like that's a lot of times they'll say, "Oh, I was sick, so I couldn't go." So they don't end up making, I missed a meeting. That is a reason for suspension again. But at what point do you get it together? Because you're supposed to be one of 53 people, right? We're all working towards a common goal. At what point do I say this guy's going to let us down? And the Patriots are in a situation where they need this guy.
Yeah, they need him bad right now. Yeah. So what do you ultimately think will happen? Do you think he'll be A or nay him?
I think he'll say no because they keep seeing this over and over and over again.
And what does that mean for him then?
It's just done.
Indefinitely?
It's not your right to play in the NFL. You have to be talented enough and follow their rules.
You
And
gotta
he
earn
can't
it,
seem
yeah.
to do it.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, he's talented enough, but he can't seem to follow the rules. I mean, you just don't get to, like your job, you just don't get to walk in here and do it. You got to have the skill set, and there's a set of rules that you have to abide by.
No, that's not true. I just kind of walked in and they just let me start.
That is actually
I didn't say how high the skill set had to be.
Michael saw me in the parking lot. And he was like, "Hey, just
like,
get
come
this
with
guy
us."
in."
Yeah, but you had to earn the right to be there. It's just not your
True,
right.
especially with a team with that kind of caliber of other players in history.
I just wonder if you cut a guy like that. I mean, the
You can
coach.
cut him, and somebody will pick him up and just put him on the
Well,
non-active
that's what I was going to
list
say. Are
or
they going to someone else pick him
whatever,
up at
but-
that point?
Oh, I think somebody will take a flyer on him, but it's like
Yeah.
the running back in Texas that he was going to be their number one, and he had a really bad work ethic, so he got cut first week of camp.
Yeah, Dante Freeman.
Yeah.
Or Devontae or whatever. his name is,
Devontae Freeman.
Yeah.
They just cut him because you're being lazy. I don't like that. But again, that's somebody from that Belichick coaching tree that I think that your work ethic, what you do matters, studying matters. These other teams aren't really like that.
Right.
That's why I think this Gordon situation is so much different, that Belichick's got to look at him and say, kind of like a Lawrence Taylor, you've got more talent than anybody else.
Can't stay out of trouble.
But what can we do? How can we work around it? When the league gets involved, you can't manage it. You can't do anything about it.
Yeah, I can't for the life of me understand why, when you have that much money on the line, why you can't leave the drugs alone.
Right.
That's what
Yeah,
I mean.
that blows my mind.
So addiction is, I mean, I've never been addicted to anything, but I mean, it has to be crazy because you're looking at multi-millions of dollars, but you can't quit smoking marijuana.
I say you get clean, get through your NFL career, then do whatever you want.
Ask Ricky Williams worked out
Yeah.
pretty good.
Right.
Are you retiring? Yeah, because I like to smoke marijuana.
Right.
I'm done.
Done with Florida.
The only other thing about that I'll say is I'm wondering how that affects, he never has really been a free agent on his own.
Yeah.
He was cut. So if you look at the amount of money he's made in his career and then that he's lost, I'll bet you it's probably 50-50 what he's kept.
Yes.
Because he never really got the big payday. He gets released. The Patriots get him for a steal. But he hasn't collected more than probably 6 game checks.
And you're talking about somebody that Randy Moss was on a whole nother stratosphere. But he was in the mold of Randy Moss. If he'd have never got suspended, he would have been the best receiver in the league.
Right.
I mean, over Brown, Beckham, no one could guard him. He came back for a couple games at the Patriots. Nobody could guard him.
It just blows my mind. These guys can't get out of their own way, especially when this much money is on the line and their careers are on the line, and they let something like some pot destroy their whole career. So ultimately, what do you think is going to happen? You think I thought it was interesting what you said about Goodell saying, "Well, everybody thinks I have it out for the Pats. I'll let them have him back and make it look like."
I think he dislikes them so much. He's already penalized them for the crap stuff. He penalized them for the Brady stuff, Deflategate.
Yeah, see, because what I find funny is they can't win in this situation, Patriots or Goodell, because everybody loves to jump all over him because they always win. Everybody loves to jump over him because he's judge, jury, and executioner. So if he doesn't let him back, he hates the Patriots.
Right.
If he lets him back, of course the Patriots got him back.
Well, that's why I think it's weird that he put him in this situation.
He put himself in
Yeah,
that.
I just think that's a bizarre scenario.
That's why it doesn't make sense.
Before we get out of here, Lou, I want you to talk about, we were talking before this show about the Browns and why you don't talk about the Browns. But I think this is important because we talk about this all the time.
Yeah.
Tell people why you are saying the Browns are not really, they're not as hot as what people think they are.
Well, because you have a head coach who was never even a coordinator. So a lot of pressure on him. Then you lost. The biggest loss they had was Greg Williams, defensive coordinator, is no longer on that staff. He is the best defensive coordinator since Dick LeBeau. Just go back and look at his track record.
Buddy Ryan. What? No, keep
Dick
going.
LeBeau was after Buddy Ryan.
They were friends, probably. Probably stole things from Buddy Ryan. 46 Bear defense. You're welcome.
But no, you lose that, and then you were 1-5. Baker Mayfield, when he came in, was 1-5 against teams with winning records. It doesn't set well. Like his numbers, if you look at them, were very average for a rookie quarterback. What boosted him up was the Bengals 2 games, 7 touchdowns, no picks. Looks great. So by having that suspect head coach and a new defensive coordinator, what's the schemes going to look like? No team has picked up a wide receiver and won a Super Bowl. None of them.
Right.
And there's been 50-some-odd Super Bowls.
But
That's it.
Doug knows this better than anybody. You don't win just with personnel in NFL.
Yes.
You win with scheme and you win with team. And
No.
the Patriots don't win every year because they have the best athletes, they have the best football players, they have the best way to utilize their talent.
Out of 53 guys at Patriots, have 45 guys that you bump into in the mall and not know they were a professional football player.
Well, that's where they used to work.
Yeah.
Right before they
And
got
that's
picked
where they
up
work
on
in the
that team.
offseason because
And
they
that's
don't
where they
pay
work in
them
the
in the
offseason because they will not pay them.
Yeah.
All right, I got a question for you guys. We're almost done with this show, so this is where I'm going to throw a tangent in. I know for a fact you guys both saw this movie. I know we're going to go on a way tangent, but since Dwayne Johnson played football, so it's still sports related. Hobbs and Shaw. I've been on the fence about seeing this. Do I wait till it comes out digitally or go to the theater? I know a lot of people might be on the fence.
Theater.
Well, wait. The preview looks very humorous, but then there's some ridiculous looking scenes. You both have 5 minutes. Go.
Well, Lou and I looked at this movie probably the same way. We, several times in high school, would jump out of these skyscrapers, no window.
Yep.
We never got cut by glass to chase people down. We would constantly ramp our cars up over dirt and things like that. This was like a documentary for us.
Yes.
I'm not going to speak for
Sounds
Lou,
truthful.
but I think he knows that's right.
But I'll be honest with you, though, it was what I expected. I knew there would be some unrealistic, and I just sat there and I laughed. I'm like, this is crazy.
It's just
But
you got to go in there knowing what you're expecting.
Knowing what you're getting,
Yeah.
because if you see it on TV, it's going to be a totally different
Yeah.
movie. When it comes out on the TV, it's going to be a totally different
But when it's
movie.
on a 40-foot screen, you
Yeah.
go, this
Yeah.
could totally happen.
And Dwayne
If you were
Johnson's
watching
the
this
size
in
of
your
Godzilla.
living room, you'd be like, what in the hell am I watching?
It reminds me, there was a movie, The Other Guys, and Dwayne Johnson and Samuel L.
Oh,
Jackson were at the
yes.
beginning.
Yeah.
And they jump off a building. It kind of reminds me of ridiculousness like that. So I'll go check out your takes. It wasn't 5 minutes from each of you, like I asked, but it's okay.
Yeah, you don't need The Lion King. Go see Hobbs and Shaw.
Wait,
and
how many
tell them
times did you see that, by the way?
I only had to see that 4 times, but my daughter gave me a break. We saw Spider-Man Far From Home for the 5th time.
5th time.
So, we need some Hollywood. Put some more stuff out because you're wearing my ass out with this. That's going to be it for this week, buddy. And, boys, thanks for coming on. You've been listening to Middles Open. We'll see you next week.